Hey everybody, Bridget Lynn Dolgoff and Consciousness of Economics and Urban Farm Project. Anyway, I haven't really been doing a whole lot of videos on subjects. I have been putting some out from, being out in nature and collecting herbs and all that. Because I've just kind of reached the end of my rope. I mean, just on a lot of levels. And I don't really want to spend, any more of my time trying to educate a population that isn't really going to get it or understand anyway. And so, I'm just kind of turning my focus into plants and trees and things of that nature before they're gone, because they're dying. I mean, trees are dying at such a rapid rate while everybody's out there making a living and keeping a mortgage and a roof over themselves. And I want to make sure that, we're not going to be able to live without trees. And yeah, they might come up with some weird thing in cities to, create oxygen. I saw this, really weird stuff. I mean, instead of taking care of nature and planting trees, I'm not designed for a space age world. I don't want to live in a space age world. I don't even like the confinements of a city. And I feel better when I'm in constant eyesight, communication with plants and water and trees. So I'm just really trying to, spend whatever time is left photographing in my mind what nature looked like. So in a couple of years, when it's no longer here, or I pass from this world, I'll take the most important images with me. Forest, trees, plants, nature. I'll take nature with me. And maybe, if I get planted on another planet, maybe I'll be able to take those memories and images and help redevelop another planet that has been decimated. So it's just really hard to like people these days. Just having a really difficult time trying to do that. Or want to help them figure things out, or, they are the root cause of what's going on in this world. Anyway, I was at the park today, and lately I spend a lot of time at the park. My transmission is not so good, but I will just keep going to the park, going out into nature and communing with it as long as I can. And, keep creating images of it in my mind so that I remember it. I remember what each tree bark looks like and feels like. I look at all the leaves and the grandeur. So anyway, I think I hit kind of a depression period. I think I'm out of the depression period, and I'm just kind of in a process of refocusing my time and energy because I'm just so far ahead of the curve with so many things, health and environment, and that, just impossible to get people to kind of understand. And so I'm kind of burned out on trying to get people to understand, right? And I've studied a lot of Rudolf Steiner and just a lot of other people. And I've been in many clinics doing the kind of work that I do, energy instructional medicine, with other brilliant people. And I think, there won't be anything to leave to this world, because the world is dying. So, I mean, there's not going to be anything to leave it to. Where you look at Rudolf Steiner's work, and his work lives on. Why? Because it's true. Why? Because it's fact. Why? Because it's good. But with my work and the work that I'm working on, it's not going to matter whether I write books or not, because there isn't going to be anything left. There won't be anything left to carry forward. So I would much rather spend my time visiting, with the trees before the trees are gone. And, there's sometimes I do have a lot of anger towards people and humanity, and we could say, well, they did this to us, and, we're under levels of mind control and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? You can't really have that kind of blame anymore, because, I've blatantly chose the other road, it doesn't have money, doesn't have a career, doesn't have a marriage, doesn't have children, doesn't have, any of the trends and, that people are involved in because of, the mind control, the assimilation, the simulation, right? So there are some of us out here that, have never woke up, because I've always been awake. And I've just made other choices. I've made choices not to be part of the problem. I think living in a house or building a house goes against everything that we are. Having to pay for that house. The more I live outside, even with the chemtrails and everything else, I'm healthier. The more time I spend inside in a house, the sicker I am. And I know that it has to do a lot with the dirty electricity, the Wi-Fi, everything that's in the house that's off-gassing. So, that's where it's at. All right. Well, anyway, so I just had some emails, people asking me more so kind of like where I've been. And so I just wanted to let people know, I'm just not available for what I used to be available for. Now I'm available for enjoying the environment before it's gone. And remembering it before it's gone. As we move into this, space age repair and fixes of everything, and it's just not going to be good. Living in a high rise is not good. My native teachers, one of the first things that just blew my mind, there was a guy named Nelson Turtle. When I was 17, I started hearing about him. And I waited for 2 years to get invited to a lodge, sweat lodge, that he had out in Washoe Valley. And he could literally raise people from the dead. He was pretty well known, but a lot of people were pretty scared of him. I thought that was fantastic, by the way, but one of the things that blew my mind about him and his wife is they had like a newer modular home, on some land out there in Washoe Valley, but they took out the floor. And so you walked up the stairs to the door, and then once the door opened, you walked down another stairs to the ground. And so the shell was this, modular home, but the floor was removed. And, I didn't really understand that principle. It took me a while to understand the principle is that you can't get away too far away from the, magnetics or the energetic. Now they know. This is like, over 30 years ago, maybe like 35 years ago or something. Nowadays they know that the Schumann resonance of the earth is the same as the human heart. And so you need to have a connection, a dirt connection with the earth in order for your heart to regulate itself properly, because your heart regulates itself based on the frequency or the Schumann frequency or whatever you want to call it, the electrical systems of the earth. And so also in that same time frame, I got to study lightning medicine from his wife. I can't remember exactly what tribe she was from. I think she may have been Navajo. I can't remember where he was. He wasn't Nevada native. He wasn't Paiute or Washoe or he was from far away, if I remember. Somehow got there. But his wife did this thing called lightning medicine. And this was my first experience with electrical medicine. So we have all these people, developing these machines for healing. But the thing is, we have all of those things for healing. Except for the problem with the machines is that you don't have the long-term health solution. It fixes, what you have wrong with you, but then you're going to get other stuff that's wrong with you because you didn't fix the problem, which is the vessel and the relationship that your vessel has to like the environment. So having cured myself of all kinds of things, I'm not a proponent of a machine. I think you have to have some kind of long-term plan. So, and I think that we have electrical problems because we don't have a relationship with our environment, especially water. Turns out water, has, if we were drinking it from the rivers, if it was clean, it would be baked in sunlight. And so the sun would give it an electrical charge because the sun is a generator. It also would disinfect it in a healthy way. And then as the river flowed along the rocks and stuff, it would oxygenate itself, purify itself, and it would collect tons of minerals. But we don't drink that. We drink dead water. And there's no way that you're going to have health if you're drinking dead water. You can't even now, like if you want to go down and get filtered water or alkaline water. Well, all of the water towers have been strapped with 5G and 4G units. So they're not clearing out the microwave radiation that's in it. So it's a lie that they can clean it or purify it, or that it can be cleaned or purified at all anymore. It's a farce. And the more that Victor Schallenberger, showed that the more that you process it, the less life force that the water has, and then it's not good for you anymore. So anyway, so back to the first round of electrical medicine. So I learned a lot there, observing. So his wife I can't remember her name either. It's been a long time ago. But there was a sweat that I'd gone to, and it started out really, really intense, and it was just really too intense for me, and I had a total mental breakdown. Mind you, I was only like 18, and Nelson Turtle let me out of the lodge, but told me go hang out with his wife. And so I went up there, and she opened the door and invited me in, and we had a 6-hour conversation about lightning medicine. And back then, I thought to myself, why is this person teaching me this? I mean, I think it's always kind of been like that. Like, I've always landed in the right places and learned things that most people would never learn, or most people would never have the opportunity to learn, or maybe their vibration is not in accordance, with other vibrations, that they would even be allowed to learn such things. I learned it the hard way. But so basically what happened is that and I had Lyme disease, I'm pretty sure. Lyme disease back then was undiagnosed, but I spent a lot of time up in Yosemite, and a lot of time, I have stuff blown away around. And I had, basically some serious run-ins with some ticks when I was a kid. I was kind of a mountain child during the summertime, rafting the Kings River with my uncle, and fishing, and frogs, and, barefoot, and all that. And so I'm pretty sure that I had Lyme disease. And it was really rough on me because I had a lot of physical pain when I was growing up. And back then the doctors called it growing pains, but I'm pretty sure it was Lyme disease. So I'm in their modular home with the floor gone and the dirt floor. And she decides, first she talks to me about some stuff, and then I think she got a good sense of who I was. And maybe also trying to help me with my path that I was going to be on. That's what happened early on, was there were just a lot of native people, native type people, medicine people who literally, like hip bumped me back onto the path. Even though I was trying to get off the path, and I was trying to find, different avenues for work. But they always bumped me back on. And so I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if it wasn't for them. So anyway, she brings this jar out has tree wood and all kinds of different kinds of plants and all kinds of stuff in this glass jar. And so she starts to teach me about her medicine. So her family, wherever her origins were, worked with the thunder beings, and lightning beings, and had been doing what they called lightning medicine, which is electrical medicine, probably for thousands of years. And so she talked to me about the different kinds of plants. First, she would tell me stories about how she collected it, and she would wait for the thunderstorms, and she would be dressed and ready with her stuff, and she would wait for the lightning to strike, and then she'd literally go out into the forest and find those areas where the lightning strike. And she said you had to do it within 24 hours to make sure that the plants and the wood debris had enough electricity in it, right? And she preferred things when trees exploded from electrical strikes and things like that. Or you could, it was blackened, the area was blackened. So she had chunks of tree in there, from trees that had exploded. And so this is what she'd do. And she kept it in a jar. She said, you can't put any metal near it. and she kept it in a closet by itself. And so she talked to me about it, about how it can clean you out and heal things, kind of a thing. And I was like, great. And so she said, do you want to try some? And I was like, okay. So she made me, I think I drank maybe like 3 or 4 cups, like little, China cups. And what she did was she boiled water, and then she put it in glass with some of the plants, debris, and the wood and everything else. And then she poured the water over it. And then she let it steep, I don't know, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And then she would pour it off into the cup. Strain it and pour it. Well, it cured my Lyme disease. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. Because I didn't really have a lot of pain after that. And my health really greatly improved, even though the medicine was pretty intense. So I drank it, and then for 5 days, I literally had water ass blow that was so unbelievably intense. I thought I was gonna die. I mean, literally. And then that was over, and everything went back to normal, except for I was healthier. So electric medicine is already here. Walking on the earth barefoot, laying on the dirt. I think the 2 major things that matter is our brain and the structure of our body, so that we have a open communication, so the brain can heal our bodies. If we have any kind of spinal problems, that's gonna keep, and if you eat too much sugar, your spine will never be straight. It'll always be off. So that, and microbes, and being an electric currents. So what I learned was that, nowadays, what I learned from the lightning medicine was that it was so charged with lightning, energy, electricity, that when I drank it, when the water was infused to it, the water became electric, and then all the plants that had medicine properties as well. And then, it went into my body, and it probably every cell in my body wanted some of that electricity. And so what it did was, once it picked up the electricity, it started purging everything in my cells, everything all over my whole body, and then purged it out. So I hate the modern age. I hate the fact that people can sidestep the environment and their relationship with the planet and use machines to get well, even though they're going to get something else long term, because they don't have a long-term health plan, and they don't have microbes in their body, and they're sterile. And those problems have to be solved by us doing it and getting into our yards and cleaning our own personal mess up in our environment. And then educating our neighbors and helping our neighbors with those decisions. I mean, if people refused more to live in, neighborhoods that they spray pesticides and herbicides, they would have to create communities where they were herbicide and pesticide free, because nobody would buy houses in heavy sprayed areas anymore. Right? If, you got sick from your neighbor, spraying pesticides, and you sued them, that would start changing things. But you know what? There's no quick fix. There's no way out. We have to do the work. And if we don't fix the environment and we don't fix the microbes and we don't fix the water, it's not going to matter if you have a machine to make you well temporarily. Because your basics, you have no relationship to the earth. And this is something the native people have been teaching us worldwide for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and we just can't seem to get it. We can't seem to, change our mindset, because we got to have a house. We got to have a mortgage. We got to work for that someday. We work for the very people who are poisoning and killing our planet. Sick. Super, super sick. And it's getting to where, like here, we have so many homeless now. It's epic in this area. I mean, epic. That, there are no more jobs anymore. Even if they wanted to, work for the man, they can't work for the man anymore. And by far, it's kind of sad to say, I think most homeless people are healthier than people who live in houses. At least their minds are healthy. A lot healthier. Because they're free. Anyway, that's just my blob for today. I gotta go before it cuts me off, my time limit. Anyway, happy Monday.